But first, new details coming out of a bond hearing in Liberty County. Thanks for joining us on Lee News at 5:30. I'm Sam Bauman. Now, it all started with a gruesome discovery by local hunters. A woman's body was found in the woods just 1 week after Thanksgiving. Well, today, almost a year later, her husband was granted a hefty bond in that brutal killing. WTOC's Tyler Mannion had the only camera in the courtroom as a judge granted a $5 million bond. We do want to warn you, this story may be unsettling or alarming for some people.
It's a graphic case.
Been decapitated and dismembered.
A woman's body found scattered around a mile of land.
And that was where the torso had been located.
In handcuffs and an orange jumpsuit, Nicholas Casotis was walked into a preliminary hearing where he's accused of killing his wife, Mindy Mebane Casotis. The state pointing out Mrs. Mebane, as she's known in court, or the victim, was the defendant's second wife. But he was actually speaking with another woman at the time they say he killed Mrs. Mebane. The exchange you're about to see is with the special agent from the GBI who not only found the victim's body parts, but also spoke with the woman Nicholas was seeing on the side.
Did he advise her that he was married at the time he was talking to her?
He did not.
Did he advise her anything about Mrs. Mebane or his previous wife?
He told her in October that his wife had died approximately a year prior while pregnant, and yet she had died during her pregnancy.
So Mr. Casadas told Mrs. Kolznick that she was already dead when she was very much alive.
That's correct.
The witness also explains the defendant went on to marry that woman in April of this year. The victim, his previous wife, was murdered in December of 2022. Part of the state's argument is that Nicholas bought a knife like one found around the crime scene, something his attorney pushed back on.
So it's the same type of knife, but you have no way of knowing if it's the exact same knife that was purchased. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
From there, Judge Charles Rose announcing his decision.
The evidence regarding efforts made in this case to suppress and destroy evidence, all of which lead the court to the conclusion that he is definitely a flight risk.
As bond was set at $5 million, Judge Rose put in a few conditions in case the defendant is able to meet that number. If he does, he'd have to stay inside wherever he ends up staying with an ankle monitor on, and also check in with the court at least once a month. The next step in this case is Casotis standing in front of a Liberty County grand jury with a potential indictment on the line. Reporting in Liberty County, Tyler Mannion, WTOC News.
Now, like we mentioned, this investigation started in December of last year with a plea from the GBI to help identify a woman from sketches. Well, 2 weeks later, state agents released a new sketch in hopes someone might recognize the woman. Mindy Casotis wouldn't be identified until May of this year when her husband was arrested for the killing. A judge denied him bond back in May. That was before today's hearing. Of course,